In another preliminary, he's been mentioned as a possible opponent.
I take all comers. I don't duck any man.
Can we assume that Michael Dokes is one of the prospects?
All comers. Come one, come all, because nobody can get close to me. They're not even close. I'm the best fighter in the world.
The spring of 1985 marked the arrival of a phenomenon. At the time, few could have guessed that this young fighter would soon become a global icon of the ring, Mike Tyson. He didn't just win, he tore through the heavyweight division, obliterating everyone in his path. Defined by raw speed and an overwhelming physical assault, his performances were pure spectacles of power. In this episode, we witness the terrifying velocity and relentless fury of the baddest man on the planet.
There's never any doubts in my mind because I'm the best in the world, even though a lot of you don't like to hear it. It's fact, I'm the best, you know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best.
Mike Tyson versus Ricardo Spain. Mike Tyson's fourth professional outing was a brief, violent affair at Resorts International. After Tyson unloaded 12 straight shots, Spain tried to clinch for safety, but a left hook immediately floored him.
4 rounds this time. Wow, brother. The little...
Spain regained his feet at 8, but the Iron Mike pressure was relentless. In a frantic exchange where both men swung wide, Tyson's superior speed allowed him to connect with a fight-ending left hook to the jaw.
Notice the left hook, the power was astonishing. The legs just went.
With Spain's legs buckling, the ref waved it off at the 2:04 mark, securing another knockout for the rising phenom.
Don Help, in his brief pro career, hits like a steam hammer. Eyes of the giveaway. Oh, the legs have gone. This is all over. Yeah. Really stand and take.
Mike Tyson versus Michael Johnson. By his 8th fight in September 1985, Mike Tyson had become synonymous with the first-round knockout. Michael Johnson would be no exception, lasting a mere 39 seconds in the ring with the rising phenom. The end began almost immediately. Following an initial trade, Tyson connected with a devastating left to the body that folded Johnson.
Because down he goes, the left hook.
It was a right hand. It was a right hand right there. No, we didn't see it yet. Sorry, here it comes.
There's the left
hook. There's the hook to the body. He missed the right, yeah.
Though the referee allowed the fight to continue after the mandatory count, the conclusion was already written. Tyson immediately found his range, landing a thunderous right cross that rendered Johnson unconscious and punctuated another dominant performance.
For an invitation. Here it comes. Whoa.
I'll tell you, Michael Jack Johnson earned his
knockout, 8 wins.
Look at Michael Jack Johnson. He's still hurting. That jaw might be broken.
Mike Tyson versus Robert Kohley. By late October 1985, the Tyson style was becoming a terrifying reality for the heavyweight division. Facing the taller Robert Kohley, Mike stepped into the ring at Resorts International with clinical intent. The match was slated for 8 rounds, but it lasted less than 1% of that time.
Left hook, good night. There's a mandatory 8.
With a singular, devastating left hook, Tyson dismantled Kohley in just 37 seconds.
And this is how he did it. Measured him up. Missed with that, not with that. And really cut.
It was a blink-and-you-miss-it demolition that further cemented Mike's reputation as the most dangerous starter in boxing history. Mike Tyson versus Eddie Richardson. In the heart of Houston, a packed house sat on the edge of their seats, waiting for the Iron Mike lightning to strike again.
Right hand by Tyson. It's the first punch thrown in the fight. There you see Eddie Richardson.
The 12th fight of his career followed the now familiar script of early career destruction. At the 1:17 mark of the first round, the tension snapped.
Disbelief as we are.
Tyson unleashed a devastating left hook that connected flush with Richardson's head, ending the contest instantly and sending the crowd into a frenzy.
Predicts a great future. If they can find some fights, then...
And now the knockout. A left hook, a la Frazier, and down goes Richardson. And you know, he throws it.
Absolutely carried him through the air.
Mike Tyson versus David Jacko. In Albany, New York, Mike Tyson faced a veteran tactic designed to neutralize his explosiveness: the clinch. David Jacko spent the early moments of the fight desperately clinging to Tyson, trying to weather the storm. But the storm was inevitable. A crisp headshot finally broke through, dropping Jacko into the turnbuckle. Jacko showed grit by standing back up, but he was greeted by a terrifying sight. Tyson was weaving in front of him like a rhythmic pendulum, impossible to time. A stinging left hook soon put Jacko back on the canvas. At this stage, Tyson seemed to shift gears, moving away from high-volume flurries in favor of a single fight-ending blow. The finale was clinical. Tyson loaded up a monstrous left that whistled past Jacko's chin, but followed it up immediately with a crushing right cross. Jacko went down once more, and with 3 knockdowns in a single round, the referee called an end to the night. Mike Tyson versus William Hosea. Having proven he had the stamina for the long haul in his previous 2 outings, Tyson returned to his roots: the early round demolition. Facing a visibly shaken Hosea Williams, Mike wasted no time. Coming out of a tie-up, Tyson snapped Williams' head back with a sharp right hand and followed up with a whirlwind of power punches.
In round 1, the first 3 minutes, and he's adding the jab maybe to his... And already, Hosea...
The volume alone was staggering. Even the glancing blows carried enough momentum to send Williams crashing to the floor.
And down.
It was a business decision from there. Williams looked like a man who had seen enough, deliberately remaining on the floor until the referee's count was finalized. The knockout stood as another testament to Tyson's terrifying physical presence.
Didn't beat it.
Mike Tyson versus Marvis Frazier. In a matchup draped in boxing royalty, Mike Tyson faced Marvis Frazier, son of the legendary Smokin' Joe Frazier. While Joe sat in his son's corner as trainer and manager, it quickly became clear that greatness is not always hereditary. The decision to put Marvis in the ring with a prime Tyson remains one of boxing's great mysteries. The result looked less like a fight and more like a high-speed collision. From the opening bell, Tyson didn't just attack, he hunted. He trapped Frazier in the corner almost instantly, detonating a massive right uppercut that short-circuited Marvis's defenses. A relentless volley of power shots followed, sending Frazier to the canvas in a heap. The referee began his count, but quickly realized it was futile. Marvis was completely unconscious.
And he's going to stop the fight.
At just 30 seconds, it was the swiftest and most brutal knockout of Tyson's entire professional career.
And the good news is I believe Marvis Frazier is standing up. There's a big crowd in that corner of the ring. Mike Tyson is going back over there.
Mike Tyson versus Alfonso Ratliff. The clash with Alfonso Ratliff served as the final hurdle before Mike Tyson's historic date with Trevor Berbick. Tyson dismantled his opponent with the surgical precision and explosive head movement that had become his trademark. The breakthrough occurred when Mike slipped a lead, ducking to his left to load up a massive hook that caught Ratliff flush on the jaw, sending him crashing to the floor. Ratliff showed veteran composure, taking a knee and utilizing the full count before standing at 9. However, his recovery was an illusion. Tyson immediately swarmed him, unloading a clinical 8-punch volley. Ratliff managed to buy a few seconds of survival by initiating a clinch, but the reprieve was short-lived.
Davey Pearl looking very closely. And that's all. It's over.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Well, Alfonso Ratliff won the press conference the other day.
Mike Tyson versus Pinkland Thomas. When Mike Tyson met Pinkland Thomas in May 1987, he wasn't just defending his belts. He was looking to break a man who had never been floored. For the first half of the fight, Thomas lived up to the hype, weathering the Iron Mike storm with impressive resilience. But the 6th round proved to be his undoing. Tyson found his opening and detonated a rapid-fire combination of hooks and uppercuts that seemed to come from every angle. After several clean shots found their mark on his chin, Thomas began to stagger. One final crushing left hook folded him onto the canvas.
Trouble again. And now Tyson moves in for the kill. 2 uppercuts in the left hand. Thomas trying to hold on. Serious trouble. And down he goes.
The boxing world watched in shock as the referee reached the count of 10. The granite-chinned Thomas had been dismantled in a single flurry, marking Tyson's most impressive defensive performance to date.
It's over. It is over.
Champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson versus Tony Tubbs. Mike Tyson's reign as the absolute world champion continued in March 1988 with a brief but memorable encounter against Tony Tubbs. While the first round saw some tactical exchanges, the second round served as a reminder of Tyson's one-punch equalizer. With clinical timing, Mike connected with a devastating left hook that short-circuited Tubbs' equilibrium.
Another punch hurt.
Tubbs is hurt. Tubbs is hurt badly.
Well, Tyson now starting to find his range. That left hook there pretty much spoke for itself.
The challenger stood no chance of recovery. He was still reeling on the canvas as the count ended, marking a definitive victory for the 21-year-old champion. Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno. This bout arrived at a turbulent crossroads in Mike Tyson's life. Iron Mike was besieged by distractions, from a high-profile divorce to mounting legal battles with his promoters. Consequently, his preparation was a shadow of his usual camp, consisting of just a few weeks of focused training. Yet, the chaos outside the ring didn't stop his explosive start. Seconds into the opening bell, Tyson unleashed a ferocious assault that sent Bruno crashing to the canvas for an early knockdown.
Hand by Tyson landed flush on the jaw. Tyson starts with a fury and Bruno tries to punch back. Bruno down after a
Let's take a look at the knockdown.
To his credit, Bruno weathered the storm and clawed his way back into the fight, occasionally finding success with his own boxing.
Tyson finally went to the body in that last exchange. Now Bruno lands a short left inside. And Tyson...
Well, it's apparent that Bruno's been doing some homework. Look at him.
However, the gap in raw power eventually closed the show. In the 5th round, Tyson detonated a combination that propelled Bruno into the ropes. Trapped and defenseless, Bruno was subjected to a relentless barrage until his corner intervened, throwing in the towel to save their fighter from further punishment.
To land the one haymaker.
Oh, it's just a matter of time here.
Vicious punishment.
That's not shot. That's that Bolo shot.
And
beautiful
Richard
shot.
Steele has seen enough. Richard Steele ultimately decided he had seen enough. And at this moment, Terry Lawless, the manager of Frank Bruno, was running along the ring apron with a towel in hand, asking Steele to stop it.
It's a double punch.
Has any heavyweight ever thrown the uppercut with such devastating effect?
Not that way. And
Mike Tyson versus Donovan Ruddock. This was a fascinating and highly revealing encounter. Donovan Razor Ruddock was a powerful Canadian heavyweight who, unlike recent Tyson victims like Henry Tillman or Alex Stewart, wasn't paralyzed by fear. He came to fight. Ruddock was essentially a converted southpaw, fighting out of an orthodox stance, which made his lead hand exceptionally dangerous.
A hard body punch by Tyson. Because a hurricane is building up. Lucky counterpunch. He has no game plan.
While he was a formidable opponent, his style was somewhat one-dimensional. His entire game plan revolved around landing his signature smash, a lethal hybrid of a hook and an uppercut. Despite his technical limitations, his power was undeniable, leading to a grueling, high-stakes battle where Tyson held only a slight edge.
take a look at that. Just when Ruddock thought he was on pay dirt, landing good punches, in comes a counter punch. What a tremendous shot.
The turning point arrived in the 7th round when Tyson caught Ruddock's chin with a devastating left hook. Ruddock wobbled and fell back into the ropes. Sensing the end, Tyson swarmed him to deliver the finishing blow, but referee Richard Steele stepped in prematurely to wave off the fight.
Here comes Lisa Ruddock out of nowhere. Power and the accuracy of the punches.
Round, we head into number 7.
Well,
The TKO call was instantly met with outrage as Ruddock appeared conscious and capable of continuing. The controversial stoppage sparked a near riot in the ring, with a brawl breaking out between the two camps. It took the intervention of security to restore order and officially bring the chaotic night to a close. Mike Tyson versus Buster Matthysse Jr. Following his return to the ring, Mike Tyson faced Buster Matthysse Jr. in a bout that showcased both defensive frustration and explosive resolution. For the first 2 rounds, Matthysse utilized a crafty defensive shell, successfully slipping Tyson's power shots and forcing him to reset. However, the champion's patience eventually paid off. In the 3rd round, Tyson breached the perimeter, detonating a short, devastating right uppercut that sent Matthysse crashing to the canvas.
Pivot, swing around on your opponent's side, and then crash.
oh, he got a right uppercut, another right uppercut, and down goes Matthysse.
The impact was absolute. Matthysse remained floored as the referee reached the count of 10, ending the night with a clinical knockout.
Right uppercut, 2 of them by Mike Tyson, and he is knocked down Buster Matthysse Jr.
Knockout,